Welcome, everybody, to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network from the State of the Art Studios in Round Rock. I say that because all my guests that come over are amazed, Steve, at the big glass windows, the view of Round Rock from the height we're at, our soulmate down here on the floor with us, Rusty. So it's just awesome. Hey, we want to welcome you guys back to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network, and tonight we're going to talk to Steve from Austin Credit Group, and we're going to give you some tips tonight on how to improve your credit score. And he's got some things he wants to talk about, and his crack staff and my producers got together, and we came up with some great questions for him tonight on the show. But before we go any further, let me explain a little bit how the show works. We are broadcasting live over YouTube. If you happen to be clicking on a link on G Plus or on the Facebook group page or on, well, especially YouTube, there's a live link right there. But when the show's over, the cool thing is, as you know, in today's automated technology, it gets saved and it's archived. So I will tell you, Steve, that most of our listeners that do end up listening to this show listen to it later, on demand, months down the road, years down the road. You've still got a past show that you still have on your website that gets listened to that we did this before. So everybody be aware. And we don't use the video part. We use the audio part, and we just cut the cameras because none of us are that good looking, and frankly, we would rather do it in radio format.
And I was thinking about getting my hair cut today, so I'd look good on your radio.
Well, there you go. And how do they look? Isn't that what everybody always asks? Well, on social networking, go see exactly how we look. Our main sponsor for every Tuesday night show is CPR Cell Phone in Round Rock, Texas. They're located at La Frontera. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair. Their website is cellphonerepair.com, cellphonerepair.com. Guys, they have fixed my phone. I know they fixed your phone, right?
Always helped me with some problems with it, yeah.
Okay, so they're excellent. They work on, all sorts of all the different kinds of smartphones, iPhones. They work on tablets. They work on computers. They work on screens, cracked screens, water damage, plugs that don't work on phones, screen that go blank. If you have a cell phone problem, go over to CPR Cell Phone Repair in Round Rock, Texas, located La Frontera, and they're located almost next door to Jimmy John's and Hooters. So that's the side of the shopping center they're on if you need some landmarks. And they can just about fix anything, but what I recommend is if you have a problem with your phone, take it by, let them look at it, and it doesn't cost anything for them to take a peek at it and see what's going on. And they usually have very quick service and turnaround on some parts. So thank you, CPR Cell Phone Repair. Website is cellphonerepair.com. Thanks, CPR, and we appreciate our main sponsor for the year. All right, Steve, you're up.
I'm up.
So anyhow, we've been I'm glad to have you back because we've been talking a lot about, and we're going to dive right in tonight. We're going to get through these points. We're going to try to go as quickly, but we're going to go efficiently as possible. We have the show scheduled for an hour, but sometimes I go 30, 40 minutes, and that's cool too. So, Steve, first of all, are you an Austin guy?
Am I an Austin guy? Of course I'm an Austin guy.
But I mean,
I'm a Longhorn fan.
I know you are, but what I'm trying to get at is were you raised in Texas or somewhere else?
Oh no, I wasn't born here, but I got here as quick as I could.
Because it's a great state to live in, right?
Yeah, my previous 40-something years was in the great state of California. I'm so glad to be from.
Right. And you mean from, away from.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get that. That's really a good way to word that. You almost fooled the host here. It's a great state to be from, away from. Okay, I got it. All right, cool.
Yeah, but I was born in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that's a good state.
Yeah, and I was transported or transplanted to California
That's what transported.
at 8.5 years old.
Had no choice at that time, right?
Moved to Texas at 55. Yeah, I'm an old fart.
Yeah, that's all right, man, but that's good. So, hey, listen, Steve has been helping lots of folks with their credit repair, and doing it the right way. And by that, I mean absolutely is a true credit repair group that can really help with people's credit. So he's shaking his head, so he gets to answer the question. So first question to you, all right, is what is your approach to credit repair? Maybe we should address that just right up front.
Let's fix that problem right now.
Okay.
I am not a credit repair firm.
All right.
We are a credit improvement firm, which is far beyond credit repair. Our approach to doing things is very different than what you find at a credit repair firm. Our fee structures are more fair, and um, with a credit repair firm, you'll find that what they want to do is charge you a large upfront fee and a monthly fee forever until you turn them off. That's their typical fee structure. Their approach is to dispute everything, and that means even open active accounts that may have lates on them that are several years old, which don't even affect your score anymore. I've had many clients come to me after they've been involved with some of my competitors, and I had one client actually explain to me that she had 5 credit card accounts. She had lates on them that were 3 to 5 years old. Every one of them was disputed, and because of that, every one of them got closed.
Wow.
That's what credit repair firms can do for you because they don't know what they're doing. They do not understand that there are nuances to the different records and how they're reporting and what you should and shouldn't do. Um, Disputes, for example, can also show up on credit records that those will keep you from getting a mortgage. So our approach is to
And that's your focus, right? The focus of your business?
well, the focus of the business is to raise credit scores as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And we do that by going down 2 paths. The first path is to address the negative things that are on your credit report. And actually, because of our experience, we know how to challenge those records. I don't write dispute letters, I write challenge letters, and they're structured very differently than a dispute letter is. Um,
And what is that? Is it just the way it's written for the way it's approached to the bureaus,
it's the
or
approach to both the creditors and the bureaus. We do write we actually publish the letters that are posted by our clients um, through the post office. If they're going to collection companies, they're going to need to be cease and desist, and they're also going to have to go out certified return receipt. They have to come from the client's local post office, otherwise they could possibly be thrown away. Same goes for the credit bureau letters. Turns out the bureaus will actually match your zip code that's on your postmark with your return address, and if they are not pretty close together,
really?
they will trash them.
I didn't know that. So they
Yeah.
have some criteria on their end that just saves them time too. That they follow some rules,
Yeah,
right?
well, they're just looking for any excuse not to
Not to
help
look
you.
at it. Okay, all right. But why would that? Why is that? Are they really in favor of the creditor, or are they in? Or because according to the Fair Credit Act, they're supposed to be partial. They're supposed to be like middle guys, right?
The reality is the creditors are the ones paying the bills. They are subscription programs to each of the bureaus. They do not. They don't work for us. If it wasn't for the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they wouldn't deal with consumers at all.
They do because they just said, "Hey, you bought into the terms. That's the way it is. Have a good day."
Yeah. So
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
the reality is we because of the rules and regulations that the government has put on the credit bureaus, we have a way to actually deal with the creditors and the way they're reporting things. If it wasn't, they'd be running amok.
That's awesome.
Uh,
Yeah.
so understanding those rules and there's a lot of different variable laws that I have to engage with to help our clients get rid of some of their negative stuff. Um, for example, if just by way of example, a credit card that's gone charged off, which by law it has to at 180 days past last payment, is now gone to profit and loss at that creditor. And that means the balance reporting on the credit report must be $0. So if you've got a charged off account on your credit report and it's got a balance on it, that needs to be fixed. and also because it's been charged off, it's a by law it's really not collectible. So
And
we can go.
oh, okay, and I'm trying to make sense of that because that's new information for me. So what happens is you're saying that the creditor that issued the card to the consumer, to the person, if they don't, if they neglect it, don't pay after 180 days, it goes to that process, right, where they just quit paying. You're saying that they write it off through their profit and loss situation, but that's when they generally hand it over to a collection agency, right?
That's
So
when they.
you're saying that the original creditor, once he zeroes it out or profit and loss, then technically you don't have to deal with the other people. That's a gone debt. You have to go through the process to get that zeroed on your credit report, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, and we have several ways of doing that, but we approach the creditors that actually charged off the account with a validation email. What we're looking for is the final statement. The final statement should show that it's been written off. Once we have that, that's the material that we need to have to battle with the collection companies, because now we have something in our hands that says that balance is $0. I'll pay that. But what you're looking for, that's not true.
So once you have that in hand, then you can go after the multiple collection companies if it's been delivered to another one or whoever has it right in their
Hmm.
hand. You
Hmm.
can get that documentation to them and now
Right.
make them respond.
And the reality is that you have an agreement with the creditor that you had the credit card with, or the loan. You don't have an agreement with the collection companies. So that's why the letters that we send to the collection companies are very different, more powerful, and they basically tell the creditor or the collection company that you have no business even talking to me because this debt is zero.
That's crazy. And see, we haven't been taught that way though. And
No.
I think that goes back to what you said earlier. The difference between credit improvement and credit repair is a paid service that's over and over and over, right?
Yeah,
You got to have us. And you're saying I'm on the improvement side. I go through the rules the right way. I understand how this works. I've been doing this a lot of years, and so our focus is to show you and tell you and teach you the proper ways, and I'll work you through the process,
yeah,
right?
that takes us back to what we were talking about, the two paths that I go down. The first path being adjusting or dealing with the negative stuff. The second path is to help people establish positive new credit and teach them how to use it so that their
Correctly,
scores will come up.
right.
And generally speaking, our clients see a 50 to 150 point improvement in the first 90 days. And I'm usually done with my clients with what I can do for them in 90 to 120 days.
And then after that ends, probably pretty much up to them at this point
Yeah, it is up to them.
is to do it right and be educational on how they handle credit,
They
right?
have to continue to use it properly. They need to pay it properly. If they're doing that, their scores will continue to rise.
Right.
You also have to have the proper mix of credit in order for your credit scores to continue to rise. You need to have revolving credit. You need to have installment credit. Um, it's good to have things like car notes, but the car notes don't do you a whole lot of good until they're paid off, and but they can really hurt you if you're late.
You think?
Um,
Yep, that's right.
lates Back to lates. Lates are only a problem in the first couple of years in terms of your scores. After they're 2 years old, they really don't do anything, because in a lot of cases, if you've got an open active current account that has lates that are well over 2 years old, one of the things that I'll do is I'll ask the creditor to only display the last 2 years of payment history, and if they do that, then all the lates fall off.
All these little tricks and tips. So I guess we're in that question. It's on here is what do you do to help your clients with their credit scores, right? And this is just some of the things that you're teasing us with that you can do.
Hmm. That's what I do.
And so somebody comes to you. This is probably not a question on here, but just a Hurdy Burt question. So we come to you and say, Steve, hey, would you help us with this? We don't want to talk about fees on here. You want to meet with those clients individually, but what is the process outside of that? You make them bring you 3 credit reports. Do you get those from them? Do they fill out a form with you or something to get started? Just give you down payment? How does it work?
Well, what we do when people call us, we explain what I just did with the two paths. Then most people start with a profile review program. That's where actually well, that's where everybody starts. Because until I have credit reports, I really can't advise properly. And of course, the reports that we want to use are the ones that come directly from the bureaus. Uh, the profile review program, part of that is to actually order those reports on behalf of the client over the phone. It takes 15 days for them to show up in their mailbox. We do explain to them if they want to expedite this process, they can actually log into annualcreditreport.com and go through the process of um, ordering the reports, capturing them as PDF files, and then they can upload them to a Dropbox folder that they can share with us. Um, and that way it can cut out 15 days.
And I guess people need to know that on annual the free annual credit report. I said the word right there. That everybody is allowed to access their credit report once a year for absolutely free, right?
Yes,
And get the PDFs unless they have a screwed up address and they have to physically go to the bureaus and get it
yeah.
in letter form, right?
Annualcreditreport.com has got some pretty tricky questions that they ask people.
Yes, they do. They have a
So
security.
one of the things that I do with most of my clients, if they come to me, and I do charge extra for this, if they come over to my office, I will take them through Credit Karma, and those questions are usually a lot easier, and we will get those two reports, which is Equifax and TransUnion, and get them onto my system so that we have a resource that we can go back and look at the answers that are going to be asked by.
Yeah, because they'll ask you when's the last time
Yeah.
did you have a loan from this dealership, and they'll list them or none of the above. They give you some pretty deep questions, make
Yeah.
you to go back and
We
think about your
we had
past.
some really strange ones
What
come
was
up
that
today.
address 4 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, no, today we had who was the creditor that you applied with for credit and you got back in 2012. So we had to go back and look at the other
Yeah,
credit reports to figure out which one it was.
just see what it was and make sure you answered it right,
Right.
because they want to make sure you're the real
Yeah,
person
it could have
behind
been,
it.
it could have been a Chase account. It could have been
Yeah, it's because you could apply for a couple of things that month.
well, over a couple of years, you don't remember which
No,
one
you
you
don't
went
remember
to.
squat.
So
I don't remember.
that's one of the things we do to try and make sure that when we go to annualcreditreport.com, we have the information that we need in order to get through their questions and bring the actual real credit reports down. There's a tremendous amount of information provided on those that are not included on the reports that you get at Credit Karma.
Exactly.
Okay, lots of dates, account numbers.
Wrong stuff.
It's just there's a lot more in the comprehensive reports that you get from annualcreditreport.com, and they are free. These are afforded to you by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They do not come with scores, and they do not create an inquiry to use them. We also sent a lot of people to .com monitor their credit for a period of time, going through the process with us so that they can see what their scores are doing, because those are reporting FICO scores. Credit Karma is not using FICO scoring. They are using they're using a scoring model called Vantage Score 3.0, and it typically I've been seeing it about a 20-point difference, more to the positive. So it gives people
hope and to come on and I'm going to go look at it again. Right. Okay. So yeah, so there's different ways to score and all that. So let me ask you this. Now we already know that you said typically that you can help see a change in somebody's score in 90 days, 120 days, and then
90 days.
And why so fast? Let me tell you a scary thing I saw. I think it was about a year and a half ago, and maybe you can help here. I saw a special. I think it was on 60 Minutes, and they were talking about credit bureaus. Nobody had the freaking authorization within these credit bureaus to, once they got the certified letter and got verified that this was wrong, nobody could change it. Do you fight that by, I mean, nobody could strike it off the actual credit report? Is that an issue still, or is it,
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
was
because
true.
okay, well, I'm just telling you what I saw, and I was going, that can't be right. There's got to be somebody there after, by law, that after you submit this and it's not dealt with in 30 days, right? It's got to go.
there's a lot of misnomers about things that happen in different places. Um, and yes, I will tell you that there are times when I've been extremely frustrated because things that I knew were supposed to didn't.
Right.
So I just do it again and reword things and
Keep going through the
approach
process.
it from a different direction.
Okay. All right.
Even though they will tend to come back and say, we've already done this one, and I'll go back and say, you may have done it, but you did it wrong. You didn't take this into consideration, and this has got to be part of the.
And this is where that leads into the next big question: is why should they use Austin Credit Group, Steve? Because it sounds like to me that they're going to need some direction on this if they're really trying to go bump this thing up, right, and get out of some things or get some discrepancies off their credit.
Yeah, the reason why you want to use Austin Credit Group is because I'm a subject matter expert on credit. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've helped hundreds of people raise their credit scores. And I consider myself to be arguably the best in this business in the country.
And based on the testimonials I hear from people work groups, every person that stands up goes, "Man, Steve did a great job working with us through our stuff, helped us get this." So it's always been positive, positive. And you're a nice guy.
There's a lot.
I'll tell you that. You're a pretty nice guy. You smile out. You got a good sense of engineer humor. You're patient with people.
That's another thing that makes me different. My background's engineering. It's
right.
Not in the finance world, not in the credit world. So I bring a completely different perspective and methodology to the process. All the systems that I use, I developed.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 process.
And so I mean we calendar everything so that we can send out reminder notices. We do things differently than anybody else. That's all I can tell you. And because of that, what we have put in place, it's far more effective in a very short period of time. Now, as far as you started to ask me a question about how can I do this so fast, get these
I'm curious
because it's a two-path. It's two paths. While I'm getting stuff removed, the client's establishing new credit, and establishing new credit is as easy as going to a credit union and verifying a couple things. First off, that any program that you enter into with them is going to be reported to all 3 bureaus. Okay. If they've got a credit card program, we're looking for one preferably without an annual fee. And I have all this stuff in the local area, so I refer people all over the place, but I don't know where you folks are, so I'm just telling you what I look for when I'm going for these programs. So the credit card program, if you don't have a score that's in the 680s, you're probably going to need to do a secured credit card. And the place I go to and refer to requires 10% more as security than what you want in the way of a credit line. So for a $500 credit line, your security would be $550.
Right.
The other thing that this particular place that I use is they will turn that credit card into a regular credit card and give you your security back at somewhere between 4 months and 12 months, depending upon how you behave yourself. Now, the other thing that we do is we put people into a secured credit card, share secured loan, generally at a credit union. It's considered a loan against your own savings. So you apply for the loan, you point to your savings, we talk in terms of $1,000, you take the proceeds of the loan, drop it into another account, and set it up to the loan over a 6-month period. That's the term. But I have my clients go in and pay it off on month 4. And the reason I do that is because that way they're going to show that they had a loan for 6 months and they paid it off early, and that buys you some points that you don't get if you go full term.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's the same in the business credit world. If you pay something in advance of what it's supposed to, it will give you a better paydex score on Dun & Bradstreet,
which is awesome. And so the 2-path process to hear this is while you're working on the stuff that you're working with through them is to also the other path is to get them established. Depending on their credit score, it could be secured, it could be unsecured. But that's what you recommend locally. Like you said, you don't know all the folks that are going to be listening to this or listening from. So,
Right.
can you help somebody? I know where are most of your clients located? Here in Austin, Texas,
Well,
or
Central Texas is a majority of my business.
you're all right.
Um, but I can help people anywhere. I've got clients in Washington State, uh, Ohio, Florida.
Right.
Um, they're all over the place. In fact, I just got a
So you can work stuff remote. Is what I'm saying for clients. They
right.
don't physically have to be with you to get this done. Everything can be done.
Well, the technology I use is Skype. So
Woohoo!
if somebody could be in another state, we can still do our video conference calls.
Absolutely.
But my furthest client was actually in Afghanistan. He was serving our country over there. Skype didn't work in a video capacity, but we were able to do an
On
audio,
audio. That's cool.
and
Good.
so we were able to communicate there while he was over in Afghanistan. But so we use Skype for that, for anything that's not in the local area. We use Dropbox for actually moving documents back and forth. The client obviously would need to have the ability to get things scanned in and then put into the Dropbox folder. Um, and of course, we use email for notifications. But anything that's sensitive in the way of
Dropbox.
documentation goes through
Yeah,
Dropbox.
that's good.
Uh, and it's worked out very well. I can service anybody in the country, and because of the process that I use now, where I actually publish the documents to Dropbox, and so the client can print them out, sign them, and
Yep.
post them from their local post office. It makes it real easy to work for anybody.
Which goes back to that. And by the way, since we're talking about this right now, we haven't mentioned this. Let's go ahead and do this as we get further in the show. If they want to find you on the web, you have a website, right?
Yes, AustinCreditGroup.com.
Real simple.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of client testimonials on there. There's a connection to my blog, which is creditjunkiesblog.com. And I have a lot of blog posts in there. I recently did a 3-part series, one on what it's called is things that life events that affect credit scores, and those 3 topics are marriage, divorce, and bankruptcy.
Yeah, yeah, that would do it. Either the positive side of staying married, the divorce side, and the bankruptcy. Got
Yeah.
you. And something that we should let everybody know, one of the first cool things they're going to see when they hit your website is you sitting on a nice little interview couch at my Fox 4 here in, 7.
7. Yeah.
I lived in Dallas for 4 years, so
Okay.
I'm screwing up the numbers. But my Fox 7, located in Austin, Steve was in on Saturday morning to do, or Sunday morning.
It was a Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
It was for Veterans Day event.
Right.
So,
And you were there talking about this. So he is an expert in his field. He gets asked to speak. He talks to a lot of people.
I teach classes.
He teaches classes, and so you guys need to go check him out at austincreditgroup.com. It's a great website, and it's got a lot of cool information on it, right? So, all right. So my fun question for you is, what kind of repeat clients do you get? You know that joke about Pete and Repeat went to the store and Pete left, and well, who's still there? Yeah. Pete and Repeat went to the store. Pete left. Who's still there? Repeat. Okay, so there we go. Hurdy. It's been a long time since I've been in the air, okay? We've had some disastrous things happening in the last 3 months, but Repeat.
I don't see a whole lot of repeat clients, but I've gotten a couple in the last month that was kind of a surprise. It's out of the blue. People that I had put back on the straight and narrow, and for some reason they fell off the wagon, I guess you
right.
say. Yeah.
And so but they had enough confidence to come back to you and sit down with you and say, now, question for you. I would imagine that one of the things a lot of people hesitate to come to you and things get worse, right, if they don't address it, is don't be embarrassed. Don't be scared. Just come and lay it out and let Steve help you, right?
Right. The one main thing that most people are concerned about is what people are going to think about them being in such a bad way. I am the most non-judgmental person you will ever find.
And that's perfect, and it's confidential. It's between you and the client. And the thing is that I tell people all the time, don't let things drag out. You know what I'm saying? The
Hmm.
longer you put something off, the harder it is to come back up the dirt road, as we say.
Yeah.
Address it as quick as your head lets you do it.
I had a client come in today who's in the throes of getting a lawsuit against him that I'm going to try and stop. Yeah, I just hope it's not too late.
Right. So address things fairly quickly. Get with Steve and see what he can do for you. Now, um, I always like to ask for examples of a great result. I know you
Okay.
got several of those. We could sit
Okay.
here all night and talk about them,
I
but
think the best one I got that's most recent is I had one client who just recently came back with their updated credit reports. There were a total of 39 derogatories between the three uh, credit bureaus, and I got 31 of them
holy smokes, that's
removed,
good.
and that represented over $13,000 worth of debt.
Wow,
So basically what I ended up charging here for that was 10% of that,
that's great.
and it's all performance based. It turned out to be 1,300, almost $1,400, but it was all $45 per deletion,
Yeah, and
and
my point is that to her that was well and more worth it. I'm sure because
oh yeah,
look what it did for her.
oh it's even better than that.
Yeah,
She just wrote to me yesterday. She's gotten pre-approved for a home loan.
there you go. So boom. I tell people don't. Well, you tell people. I tell people this when they ask. I said don't let things um, just keep working. Don't. Everybody goes through bad times. I'm convinced of that. I don't care who you are. It could be medical, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. It could be you got laid up, from car accident or
Laid
something
off.
happened overnight. You got laid off, which a lot of people in 2008 did. So now I would imagine you're also at a point where you can start dealing with some people that went through some 2008, 2009 stuff, right? Because it's getting far enough down the road where you can start dealing with it. Or I guess
No, oh no, I can deal with it
you can
after
deal with it right
four.
away. That's
Yeah,
right, because
four,
of what you told me earlier, which I did not know.
4 year. There's a 4 year statute of limitations on any debt.
Right.
Uh,
So it's gone no matter what.
yeah, it's not gone. It can stay on your report for 7 years. Any negative can stay on your credit report for up to 7 years. Now, notice the word up to. That means it can be removed before that. That's item one. Um, except for two things: bankruptcies and student loans. Bankruptcies are good for 10 years on your report, and student loans are until it's 7 years past the date you've paid them off.
Right, which it's great. Yeah, those you're stuck with. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's only one way to get out of paying student loans, and that's to die.
right,
So it's
or
something
have a house with a lot of equity in it that you can pay it off with, right, and be done.
no, because that's your retirement.
I understand, but I'm saying there are options if you had that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so something that you need to know. The positive stuff can stay on your credit report for 10 years and beyond that. Um, the things that are 7 years on negative side, sometimes you have to be proactive to get them removed. They won't necessarily fall off. They're supposed to fall off, but they don't. I find things on the reports all the time that are already 2, 3 months beyond that
right.
expiration date, and they're still showing up on the reports. But that's
So okay,
something.
so where's this industry going? You were all excited about some things coming down the pike. Maybe you can only share a little bit about it, but
Well, what I do know is that medical is going to have a reduced effect in the new FICO scoring model they're getting ready to roll out. But don't get overly excited about that because the creditors will probably not jump right on that. They don't want to see scores go down. They want to continue charging what they charge for their interest rates based on a credit score, whether it's the FICO model of yesterday or the one that's going to be tomorrow.
right,
Um, but medical is actually supposed to get to the point where once it's been paid or settled, it should fall off your report, period. It's supposed to go away. Everybody in the legislature recognizes the fact that medical is not something that you normally sign up for It's usually it comes from an emergency. Um, so they're going to handle that differently. The other thing that's coming down the pipe is a new scoring model that's going to actually be addressing those people that don't have any credit and they're trying to establish some. And they will actually go in and they'll find your rents, your utility bills, your the things that normal people have to pay for every month. And if your pay history on there is good, then they'll give you a better score and
To give you a starting point.
give you a starting point
Right.
to move you forward. Now, those people that are dealing with that obviously don't know me because I'm going to get them into credit anyway.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, even we start with secured credit because
Right.
I told you that we're going to do a share secured loan. We're going to do a secured credit card if necessary if we can't get it otherwise. And 4 months into it, once you've got that and we've got the other stuff taken care of as much as possible, there's a real good chance we can get you into a, a rewards card at another bank. And if you continue to pay your gas and groceries with it,
Right. You're right. That's fine.
and then pay it off every month or pay it down to at least $10,
Yep.
Your scores will continue to rise.
Cool.
Austin Credit Group is considered pro credit and anti-debt, which basically means we want to have credit, use credit, pay it off, no debt, and your scores will stay high.
And there's a lot of in-between stuff we could go into, but the whole purpose of tonight's show, Steve, was to get you people thinking about this that may have not been really happy about wanting to meet with somebody because embarrassment or scared or didn't think they could get something changed. Okay, which I think is awesome. I learned a few things tonight. Honestly, had no idea about the how the debt was passed over to. I knew it was passed over, but I didn't know that, and I knew it was written off, but I didn't know it didn't carry over. And because your agreement was with the creditor, not the collection, I had no idea. I guess that makes sense when you think about it, right? Wow, that's cool. So what I miss?
I don't know.
I mean, you covered a lot of stuff tonight.
It's a huge industry, huge topic, and nobody teaches this stuff except me.
Right, and you do. And the cool thing is, I've even based on the network groups, I think you're a good educator along with the people you work with because it's customized to the individual. Doesn't have people just flowing through the door like these credit repair places. Your credit improvement is truly that. It's improving them. It's improving their score. It's building a relationship with them. You work a lot on referrals too.
Yeah, that's all referrals. But referrals can be a couple different ways. From other people, I get referrals from realtors, bankers, lenders, all kinds of people. But I get a lot of referrals from my testimonials.
Yes, and you have a lot of those, and you can go look him up and check him out on his website. Go to austincreditgroup.com. Please, if you are thinking about doing your credit improvement, this is the gentleman to talk to. I promise you, I've known him for a few years now, and he's a great guy to be around, but he's also very good with great information. Doesn't beat around the bush. He's an engineer.
No,
I'm a pragmatic engineer. I will tell you how it is. I will look you in the eye and say, no.
I pull no punches.
You don't. It's not your personality, but it's a great personality. It's a good trend. I like it.
One of the things that I like to tell people when they say, "Do I really need to be here for all 3 credit reports?" Well, yes. The answer is yes to that because when I go through these credit reports, what I find that the client has done some things. I explain to them how they've hurt themselves and what they need to do or stop doing in order to keep from doing it continually or more down the road. It's not just balances over 30% on credit cards will hurt your score.
Right.
Does everybody know that? No. Does everybody know that the balance that's on the account the day after the closing date on your statement is what gets reported to your bureau? No, they don't know that. So I tell them. If they want to get a mortgage, they need to make sure that the payment brings their balance down to less than 30% before the statement closing date. That's one
That's
stop.
imperative.
The second stop to understand about that is if you're carrying any kind of a balance at all, it's also going to come with a minimum payment required, and that will count on your debt to income ratio as far as you're qualifying for a
Right.
new loan.
Right. And people are going to get a lot of people that younger couples that maybe don't understand credit all of a sudden get massive amounts of credit card offers in the mail. Explain to us quickly, if you don't mind, why they should not be applying to all these at once. What does it do? Does it hurt your score? Does it make it look like you might be in trouble and you're looking for cash flow with credit? Or what is the red flag?
The certain people are going to look at that as if it's a problem. The truth is in the pudding on how you use the credit. It is said that you should have 2 to 5 credit cards, and you do need to have at least 2 in order to get funded for a loan that's going to get government backing at all.
Sure.
That's item one. If you're going to have 2, they probably should be one from the credit union that I described, one from like Capital One rewards
Right.
card. Uh, Down the road, I would recommend getting an American Express. Now, believe it or not, the reason why, but not the one that you have to pay off, for God's sakes, no, the one that you have to pay off every month. And certainly they also have offers where there's no annual fee. So I very strongly recommend getting an American Express. Why? Because, and it has nothing to do with credit. It has everything to do with the fact that there are certain things that come out, like shows and concerts and things like that, where they will provide advanced ticket sales to people who have American Express cards.
Gotcha.
So that would be one of those. I'm also kind of a fan of Discover. So there'd be 4 cards, and you really don't need any more than that.
Okay.
And you shouldn't be carrying any balance on them. Just use them as necessary. Don't carry balances. Do use them. Don't let them sit in a drawer, because inactivity could get them just also closed. And if an account closes, it hurts you. It doesn't matter who closed it. And what causes the hurt has to do with you lose that time on the account. I've had people come to me and say, I had this little $300 card. I just decided to close it last month. I said, when did you open it? Oh, back in 1998. And I said, you just shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, because that's a long positive amount. It's
yes.
positive, and it's a long-term positive part of your score.
Right, it is. And so that's
So little tidbits of information. You can work with these people on the improvement and educate them as you go with the classes you do. And the website again, Steve, is
austincreditgroup.com.
That's a great show. Thank you.
So.
I always like having you. I think I was thinking the other night, the last time I had you on the show, it's almost 2 years ago. That's how I've been doing the show. 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think your show like 116. I don't even know anymore. I can't keep up with it. I've been doing this every Tuesday night. It took a couple months off. So thank you for being here. Anything we missed? You want anything? The best way to get a hold of you? How do you like to be contacted? Through the website, through your contact page? Is that the best way to get a hold of you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me and get initial information on what we do, our credit repair or credit improvement programs, is there's a refer a friend box on my website. You can put in your name, address, or name and email address and your phone number. And what I will do before I call you is I'll send you that email that goes over the entire program. That's the easiest thing to do. Calling me, if you do call me and I don't answer the phone, you get voicemail, please leave a message. I will not answer the phone if I'm with a client or if I'm on the phone, obviously. And I spend a lot of time in those 2 positions.
Yes, you do.
My wife will answer the phone. We do office out of our home in Pflugerville. I like to say we serve the nation from Austin, but that's
You do.
That's the way it is. I do want to thank my friend Jeff Babcock over at CPR cell phone repair for sponsoring this show. And that's really all I got.
And thank you. You couldn't have led into what I was going to say at the end was I was happy to have Steve on here tonight. That's Austin Credit Group. cellphonerepair.com. Please go check it out. They're awesome. If you have some credit stuff you need some improvement work on, get with Steve. He's awesome. You'll like him. I do want to thank our exclusive sponsor for all the Tuesday night shows for the rest of the year, CPR Cell Phone Repair. Jeff and his wife Catherine do a great job of servicing their customers. They've got high reviews. You can go look them up on Google Plus. You can go look them up on Yelp. You can. Uh, they are doing a fabulous job of fixing phones, but take it into them if you're not sure, and let them look at it first because depending on some of these phones, some are very proprietary and they may need a special part, but just take it to them. They'll look at it and up over
Yeah,
there.
they'll give
All
you a
right.
quote.
They will. They'll give you a quote, and it's awesome. So thank you guys, and go check out our sponsor at cellphonerepair.com. We want to thank you guys for being on the Tuesday night show, and we will see you guys around the corner next week, Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m., and we're going to talk about something really cool. We're going to talk about playing soccer with those big giant bubble balls that you can knock each other around,
No,
and it's going to
no.
be a fun show. So you need to stay tuned next week. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Everybody have a great night. Good night.